Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Kitchen Catastrophes with Melissa. In today's episode, we'll be making something akin to a frittata. I've been asking my family for some suggestions of what I do for my next recipe, and my aunt had said, why don't you make a frittata? So I did some looking into frittatas, and essentially frittatas are what you make when you have a lot of vegetables you want to use and you have some eggs. But I found a recipe for something that's called a Spanish tortilla, which apparently is essentially a frittata, and the ingredients sounded tasty. So that's what we're going to do. So the Spanish tortilla, it doesn't have a lot of ingredients. It's pretty much eggs and potatoes and olive oil and salt, and then, garnish with some scallions. Although interesting, it said optional plain Greek yogurt for a topping. I don't know that I've ever thought of putting yogurt on something like this. I don't happen to have the yogurt, so we're not going to do that anyway. But I have the oven preheating now at 420 to 425, so hopefully it'll be there soon. So the instructions, I was rather pleased with the instructions from this particular website. A lot of times the instructions, when you go through them, seem to miss a lot of details. This one has a lot of very specific, very well planned out details that I really appreciate. The only thing it doesn't have, which I've only seen very rarely, but I really appreciate, is it doesn't say like exactly what size of pan or stuff. You know how like sometimes the recipe will say you need to put this into a 2-quart whatever. It doesn't say that. And my pan that I can put into the oven, this one's pretty cool. It's brand new. I bought it just for this. Anyhow, I'm not sure if it's big enough to fit the full 6 eggs that are supposed to go into it. I'll kind of judge that as I crack my eggs into my bowl here, but there is a chance that I may make the recipe a little smaller than what's given. So that could be interesting because I'm gonna have to pay attention to make sure that I'm not putting too much of other things in. Yeah, specifically the salt. That's what I'm gonna have to worry about the most, but it'll be okay. I tend to like to go light on the salt anyway, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So here we go. Step 1, I'm supposed to cut up the potatoes, and they call for medium yellow potatoes. But if you know me, I couldn't pass them up. Look, it's Melissa's brand. Now, it's not really my brand, but it's my brand. I don't care what anyone says. In fact, my dad got me, I may have mentioned this before, but it's the coolest, so I have to show you. This brand, Melissa's, made a book. How great is that? And I do actually reference it sometimes. Like, it's nice when I'm trying some produce that I've never tried before to check it out. Or sometimes if I'm feeling adventurous, just to look through and then decide to go try something that's in here that maybe I haven't had before. Now, I have been preparing, first step, the potatoes thinly sliced, like so. Aren't they cute? These are little tiny potatoes, which is why you're supposed to use like regular, whatever, medium size. So I just went with as many as would be approximately that same size. Figure we're fine there. So I'm going to put these onto a baking sheet. Now I'm supposed to add my olive oil, 2 tablespoons. Oh dear. Fun story, I just discovered when I went to wash my hands after tossing these, somehow I have managed to break the sprayer on my sink. I don't know, but it just sprayed water across the entire kitchen when I was just trying to use the faucet. So that'll be a fun project for later. Anyhow, into the oven these go. And I'm going to put them on for 20 minutes, and then I get to flip them and then put them in for extra 5 to 10. While the potatoes are in the process of cooking, it does say that I can go ahead and start preparing the eggs. So it's supposed to be 6. Now, of course, this recipe actually did come from the website of a company that does eggs. I almost said makes eggs, but they don't really make the eggs. The chickens make the eggs. Anyhow, thought it was kind of a cool idea though, that a company that sells eggs, there we go, company that sells eggs also provides some recipes for that. We have a similar thing. My family owns an apple orchard. It's no longer a functioning orchard, but at one time it was an actual functioning orchard. I think I've mentioned that before in a previous episode. Anyhow, my great-grandmother, one of the things she would do with some of the apples is she would make these apple candies that my grandmother still makes at Christmas time. So I just had some, and they're so delicious. I don't know really what's in it. It's sugar and apples and food coloring. I don't know. There's got to be something more to it. I don't know, but it tastes delicious. Anyhow, long story short, let's start cracking some eggs. And now I was supposed to put the salt in the eggs. Now I did go ahead and crack 6 eggs. We'll see if it's a mistake later. And it's just to beat them, so handy dandy whisk. By the way, I would definitely welcome any requests or recommendations for recipes that you think I should try. I do have a couple of planned episodes in here, but I'd always love ideas. Just keep in mind, I'm a vegetarian, so I'm not going to make something that has meat unless I use a meat substitute of some sort. But then again, I enjoy using substitutions. All right. The potatoes, I believe, are done, so I'm going to grab those out of the oven, and then we will be on to our next step. Instructions did say to let the potatoes slightly cool before putting them into the eggs, so I have put them out onto some paper towel just so that they don't have the heat of the pan, keeping them warm, and to also help remove some of the excess oil. So I think I'm going to go ahead now and put these right into the eggs. Okay, and now I toss the eggs and potatoes. And I just put 2 tablespoons of oil into my pan, and then I'm supposed to turn it on to medium heat. And then we'll have the moment of truth of will all of these eggs and potatoes fit? Almost forgot to turn it on. Well, the good news is that it all fits. So now we put a lid on it, which this pan didn't actually come with a lid. This lid isn't exactly the right size, but we'll make it work. The lid's kind of floating on the top of the surface, but that's okay. And we're gonna let that cook for about 5 minutes so that the eggs start to pull away from the side of the skillet. So it's been about 5 minutes, and I've checked on the frittata, and it is pulling away from the edges as it says it should. So now I turn off the stove, and I'm gonna bake this in the oven for about another 5 to 10. This is the first time I've ever put a pan in an oven. Kind of feels weird. It's kind of exciting. Well, the time is up, and I have taken the frittata out of the oven. Let me bring it on over, see if we can see that. It's pretty good. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a little bit more golden brown here in the middle. But we're gonna hope for the best. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it up. And then it said something about putting scallions on top, and I don't have scallions, but I have some onions, but I decided I would saute them first. So hopefully that will be a good choice. And let's cut this up. Feels a little bit like cutting a quiche, except for it doesn't have the crust. So here we go. Final product there, along with a little bit of veggie sausage, just cause. And of course we gotta taste test it and see how it turned out. should get a little bit of the potato and the onion and the egg. Good stuff. I will definitely have to do that again sometime. I tend to not be a very patient person though, so when it comes to food. I can be very patient when it comes to working with kids, but not when it comes to food. Anyhow, let me know what you think I should do in my next episode, and I will be seeing you soon. Have a great day. So, I gotta come clean. During the making of the video, I definitely made a mistake, and I solved it. But if you watch carefully and you go back and watch it, you might catch the moment where the mistake was made, because I made sure to leave that in when editing. Because when I was cooking in the oven, I kept thinking to myself, wow, this is taking a really long time for it to get golden brown on top. And I kept adding more and more time on the timer. And then at one point, I pushed all the buttons and turned everything off and thought to myself, oh, it'll take like a couple more minutes, but we'll just let it go at the oven temperature. And then I thought to myself, maybe I should turn the oven back on. It's a good thing I did, because if you go back in the footage, you'll see I accidentally turned off the preheated oven before putting the frittata into the oven. So if you didn't catch it, maybe scroll back and check it out. But it still cooked all the way through. I'm not going to get sick. But anyhow, enjoy. Have a good day.